This is a bit of a treat for me because in the studio we have three Joneses and I'm absolutely delighted. Owain Jones, the editor of Rugby World magazine, thank you for coming.
No problem at all.
Wonderful to have you here. Chris Jones from the BBC, who's been on Checkpoint before via the phone.
Good to be here in person.
Yeah, it's lovely to have you here. Thanks, Chris. And Ian Jones, 79 Test veteran for the All Blacks, fantastic commentator for Sky. Now also a mortgage broker, Ian.
And mortgage advisor, yes.
Yeah.
John, and three Joneses and none of us from Wales.
No.
My dad's watching. I'm half Welsh.
Oh, we're all
at least.
I grew up in Wales. I'm fully fledged Welsh. So
we're going to get into these English then, John. We're going to get into this.
Absolutely,
It's going to be fantastic.
And I just want to say, if you're not watching, if you're listening, we have pavlova and sponge cake in the studio, and
I'm the only one who's actually indulging at the moment.
I'll indulge, Chris. But anyway, it's lovely to have you here. Thank you for coming. Thank you, all of you. Isn't it exciting? Ian and I were talking before Chris and Owen arrived about the fact that we would have preferred to be 2-zip up at this stage of the tour. But ain't it great that it's 1-1? How good is it? Isn't it, you know?
Well, the funny thing is, having spoken to, your cabbies, people in shops, there are a lot of Kiwis that are actually quite pleased. They almost think it's a bit of a novelty, coming into a 3-test series and for it to be one each. Believe it or not, I don't know if they've picked up the accent and they're trying to get some money off me. But there are some people who are very, very excited by it. It's been 8 years, isn't it? So since you lost at home, and people just really wondering what's going to happen next.
Yeah, I think the Lions fans couldn't have hoped for better than this. To take the most optimistic Lions fan to think that they'd be 2-0 going into the Eden Park third test. So this is the best case scenario for all these Lions fans, for us in the media looking to sort of sell the Lions tour to back home. Okay. To be at 1-1 going into the third test, it's kind of dreamland, because I don't think many people thought the Lions were going to win last week, given the way the first test went. It took a big leap of faith, and obviously the 14-man issue was massive. But for it to be going into a third test decider, for all those fans, and it's just good for those fans coming out. I was in Wellington last weekend and they were dancing in the rain. I was thinking, this is a bonus because they were coming out for a brilliant holiday, and now they've got some glory to go with the holiday, and that's just has given a real sense of I think these fans who have travelled, spent life savings, they kind of deserve that in a way. So I'm chuffed for them.
I couldn't agree more. And also, I want to say on behalf of New Zealand, and I hope people know that this is in completely good faith. I'm not just being polite to our guests. What great fans. What fantastic travelling fans. Generous, deferential to the point. Sometimes you want to say to Lions fans, you don't have to be so nice about the All Blacks.
Conversely, though, John, the Lions fans are saying exactly the same about our hospitality. Taking in Lions fans, having good banter with the Lions fans, chatting to them before and after the game. So, whilst we're never going to be, I guess, as extroverted as some of the Lions fans or the red coats as we're starting to call them and sing and chant like they do, we're pretty serious about our rugby. We've embraced what they've done also, so it's been a beautiful marriage as well. And I think coming to New Zealand, the rugby's been fantastic, and that was actually what brought them to New Zealand. But just to be part of our country, to be part of our hospitality and what we can offer the world has also made the trip.
Chris and Owen, can I ask you about that? Have you been subjected to New Zealand sales pitches, brand New Zealand sales pitches while you're here, the tourism, the wine, all that kind of stuff? Have people been hitting you with that stuff?
I think we just, as we were saying just before, we just love the hospitality. The New Zealand Tourist Board have helped us out going wine tasting, on trips in Rotorua, taking us around the various sites there. So I just think it's my first time in New Zealand, and I've absolutely loved the country, and the hospitality's been fantastic. And I think with the New Zealand fans, I was actually surprised in Wellington how noisy they were. And I think the red card forced the New Zealand fans into thinking, wow, we can't just sit back and expect things to happen now. We've got to get behind our team. So you had the Lions fans going for it, the New Zealand fans going for it. I think it made for a brilliant atmosphere. And I think, on and off the pitch, we just had a great time.
We are good hosts, though. Yeah. Let's be honest. And we do like hearing these stories because we're a little country down here. So we do like people coming to our beautiful country. And we're very biased and we think it's beautiful.
But you guys are proud of your country, aren't you?
Absolutely proud.
What New Zealanders do, they think they do really well. Rugby, wine, coffee, yachting,
craft beer. Not mention the craft beer.
Have you drunk a bit of craft beer, Owen Jones?
Beer. They speak to it like they do about wine. It is a real passion of theirs. But I was just about to say that it's the kindness that I've been shown. I've kind of sometimes, that's my first time in New Zealand, I've looked a little bit out of sorts, on a bus, you only got a $50 bill, so the guy behind me, I'll pay for you, don't worry about it. And the driver was just kind of fine with it, and I got on in a taxi, didn't have anywhere to get to eat, so she put the ticker off, took me to a supermarket and took me back to the house. genuine kindness.
Good stories.
Time they've got time for you, and that's been a real privilege. And this is even before we've mentioned we're members of the media. They're doing it just out of kindness. So.
Well, that's the stories you have to write, not that just in media. Well, I think we'd do this to everyone that comes in here. And hey, it's been wonderful to have you. And we're, as I was saying before, we're jealous. In 4 years' time, we go to South Africa. We want you back, don't we?
Well, I think a lot of Lions fans, because this is the ultimate challenge for rugby. I mean, South Africa is a great country to tour as well, isn't it? I mean, that's an amazing country like New Zealand. There's so many different places to see. But I think once the Lions have tested themselves against this All Blacks team, and unless South Africa massively picks itself up in 4 years or Australia in 8, people would think, I wouldn't mind going back to New Zealand and trying, because this has been this is the ultimate Lions tour in terms of challenge on the pitch, isn't it, to play the All Blacks?
Let's talk about the rugby. Owain Jones, you and I both thought, and I think, and I don't want to put Owen and Chris words in your mouth, but I think after that first test, I thought that we would romp home in a second. And
look, this is a very, very good All Black side, John. No question about that. And you got to look at that Wellington game, I guess, in isolation with the 14v15. It had a huge bearing on it. The history books will always say that the Lions won down there by 3 points.
And they took their chances, right?
Absolutely took their chances. And what they did, what the Irish teams did in Chicago, and what very few teams that had taken on the All Blacks could do, they stayed in the contest for longer than the All Blacks could stay in the contest. The All Blacks are very good at applying pressure for longer than any other team and normally come out on top. The Lions hung in there. They hung tough. The subs coming on actually kicked on that last sort of 20 to 25 minutes and outplayed the All Blacks in that crucial last 10 minutes time. Yep, fatigue is going to be a huge factor for the All Blacks. I was there, John. I was really proud of what the All Blacks were doing up there. It was just a mammoth effort, but it has set up. It's going to be an epic counter at Eden Park. It's going to be great.
Yeah, it was a bit of a mess from the Lions' point of view. Once Sonny Bill went off in the 25th minute, they were giving away so many penalties. A lot of people were saying they're blowing it. They don't know how to cope with the 14 men. And Maki Vunipola, uncharacteristically, seemed to lose his head. He obviously got his yellow card for a couple of transgressions. And it was. Funny enough, I was in a watering hole last night, and I watched that. That last 10 minutes was just huge for the Lions. The front up tacklers. Getting that try through Conor Murray, they almost ran out of steam. I think you could tell they're tired. Kieran Reid hadn't played much rugby either. You could tell.
And also, I wonder about New Zealand. The All Blacks had to deal with the psychological hurdle of only having 14 men. The Lions had to deal with the psychological hurdle of being up against 14 men because suddenly you think, hell, we have to make this count, right?
I think they really struggled with that. They forced in that third quarter. You felt them. Actually change their game plan and change their mindset. Not to be, let's just play, we've got a game plan, we've got good players, we've got a good strategy. They suddenly were forcing things. And I think a lot of those penalties were them thinking, we've got to get the ball back because we've got to get down that end of the pitch and we've got to make this man advantage count. So I thought the Lions had blown it. I was saying to a colleague next to me in the press box, I was like, this inquest is going to be savage because they're going to be beaten by 14 men when all the stars are aligned to take it to the series decider. So A, they deserve massive credit for clawing their way back into the game, but B, I think we can forget that it was 14 on 15 for an hour, and the All Blacks actually played extremely well when down to 14. I thought their forward pack, even though overall they did lose, that they lost the war. I thought they won so many battles in that game, and that's what sets it up nicely. And I think the few Lions fans might just have got caught up in the euphoria of that second test forgetting that actually I still think New Zealand were the better team for much of that game.
Now, John, then it just flicks over to Eden Park and expectations. Like 2 weeks ago, maybe the expectations to win a series definitely wasn't there for the Lions fans. May not have been there for these men, the reporters. I don't even know if it was there for all of those players there. Now, they've given themselves a royal chance of actually making history and winning a series here in New Zealand. And with that comes a lot of pressure. With that comes a lot of expectation.
Who's the pressure on?
As well.
Good question,
Chris. I personally think the pressure's more on the Lions because they've given themselves something they never dreamed of 2 weeks ago. The All Blacks always expected to win this series. So they're where they knew they were going to be with a chance to win the series. These guys are where they didn't think they're going to be to win a series. And if they blow it, a huge disappointment.
Although a huge disappointment from the position of having been 1-1 after 2 tests, right? So at some level now, this series is a success already for the Lions and Gatland.
Do you think so? Does it make any difference?
I can take it to a decider.
Are they here to win, I guess?
I think if the Lions lose, unless the Lions get blown away, by 40 or 50 on Saturday, there will still be a feeling that this tour, it wasn't a success because every Lions fan, every Lions player, every Lions coach wants to win it. But given the odds were so stacked against the Lions in terms of preparation, in terms of the team they were coming up against, going away from home, the fact they've taken it to a decider, albeit a little bit fortunately maybe because of the extra amount, it's funny, the Lions have so much to gain, but the All Blacks have more to lose than gain. Because this All Blacks team won't write their legacy by beating the Lions. They wrote that by winning back-to-back World Cups. I don't know if you'd agree. The Lions, it's all or nothing on 80 minutes.
Which is why the pressure's on them.
But then, yeah, agreed. Yeah, no, I can see.
You don't get to the top of this cliff and be in sight of success, and then have it taken away.
No, I see that point for sure. Yeah, I see that point for sure. I'm sorry, Joe, but what happens do All Blacks fans, if they lose this series, the All Blacks, does that tarnish Steve Hansen's legacy? Does it tarnish the 2015 World Cup legacy? Or, as Hansen was kind of hinting at yesterday in the press conference, is this kind of a new chapter of New Zealand rugby because of all those retirements in 2015?
It's definitely a new chapter. It's a new year and they move on pretty quickly. It will not tarnish Kieran Reid's 100th test. It won't tarnish that. It'll be disappointing for him, and they'll live with that for the rest of their lives. Steve Hansen's legacy is set in stone, what he's done for the All Black brand, what he's done at the Rugby World Cups. I mean, but it's also there, they have to take it as well. So, John, even though I'm a New Zealand rugby fan who loves to go to a game knowing our boys are going to win, it's not like this time. I'm actually having to go there not actually knowing the outcome of the game.
I'm nervous. I'm really, really nervous. I go dry in the mouth when I think about it.
When it came to us talking about pressure, I mean, clearly you're going to see Colin Minches saying the All Blacks are under pressure, but having gone to both press conferences yesterday, I thought Steve Hansen was very relaxed.
It was outstanding.
He was outstanding. Some lovely little anecdotes, and again said this won't define us. Whereas Owain Gatland was a little bit edgier. It was a bit more tense, And despite it, lots of people saying the All Blacks are under pressure, Owain Gatland knows this is their one shot.
This goes back to the point about
exactly one shot at their legacy. And just going back, it just points to the deference in world rugby to New Zealand. I mean, sometimes when you're a New Zealand rugby fan or a New Zealand, coach, management, anyone involved in New Zealand rugby, you just don't realise outside the bob quite how agog people are at the dominance of New Zealand rugby. And again, we pointed to all the kind of lack of preparation time. When they talked about going down to 14 men, yes, maybe with club sides that know each other, back to front, they may have practiced going through scenarios of 14 men. But these guys have only just got together. And All Black hasn't been sent off for 50 years. It was probably at the bottom of the preparation list for Owain Gatland. How to cope with it. An All Black sent off at the Westpac. You just couldn't believe it. So it's just the beauty. It's what sport throws up.
Right. This has been fantastic having you in the studio. Let's end looking forward to tomorrow. Owain Jones, editor of Rugby World. What do you think is going to happen?
I read a quick stat this morning that it was 1937 when the All Blacks last lost a 3-match series against South Africa, which is fairly staggering, 80 years, which shows how difficult it's going to be. I can see the All Blacks grinding it out and winning between 7 to 10 points, but the Lions will go down gloriously, heroically in defeat, but I think they'll just have enough for it.
Yeah, I'll go along with that. I think we'll look. If I had to put money on it, I'd say the All Blacks win by 10. But what you will get from any Warren Gatland coach side, as Ian Jones was saying, in a decider, did it in 2009 as an assistant coach, did it in 2013 in that decider in Sydney when all the tide was turning against the Lions because they lost that second test and everyone was going, this is going to end with the Aussies winning and it'll be a disaster for the Lions. He pulled it around then. So they'll be physically, mentally, perfectly prepared. I just would have to back the All Blacks by 10 points because I was really impressed with the All Blacks, even with 40 men, and they were great in the first test as well.
My expectations for the All Blacks put on the clinic, my expectations for these guys to go out there and start like we haven't started before, and it's not about that 20 minutes, it's about the last 20. Look, I will not be surprised. In fact, I'll be really, really hoping that it's a 20-point victory margin by the All Blacks. I think they are that good. I think this is a team that hasn't been in the situation before the Lions, and how they handle the speed. If we can get that, they have to take out Sam Warburton. He was fantastic in Wellington, so we need to sort of target him and slow down that ball. But this is an All Black team who are very, very good at nailing the moments. Didn't nail them all in Wellington because of other circumstances, but this is a good All Black side, John. Good Lions team. We've got a lot of respect for them, but this is a very good All Black team playing at our home of New Zealand rugby, and there's an expectation from me and a lot of us that it's going to be a good margin, a hard fought margin, but a good margin.
What a fantastic tour it's been. And thank you for coming.
No, thanks for having us.
Thank you
Thanks
for
the
coming
cake.
to the studio. Ian Jones,
Statue.
79 Test veteran for the All Blacks. Played over 100 games for the All Blacks back when the boys used to play midweek
yeah,
games.
yeah, I did. I
Jones,
took over
it's
100.
unbelievable.
It's unbelievable to me too, mate. I still pinch myself.
I didn't mean it like that, bro.
Slightly less esteemed. Joneses, alongside him.
Chris Jones has been filing for the BBC, and I know having a wonderful time. Thank you so
Thanks,
much. What a
John.
lovely
Good
job
to
being
see
the
you.
BBC's rugby man. My giddy.
Yeah, good fun.
And if you like rugby, the greatest job in the game surely is being editor of Rugby World, Owain Jones.
Not too bad. Not too bad. Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming, and may the best team win tomorrow night.
Yep.
Thanks.